Hi, my name is Myra Tanksley, and I am the single proud mother of an autistic individual. He's 21 years old, and this audio video is another one of the OSU Wexner Medical Center Harding Hospital series. And the last hospitalization that he had there back in March of 2012, he went through horrific treatment um, with the staff not knowing how to care and work with a patient that had autism. He was traumatized, terrorized, falsely accused. And on one particular incident that I do have the audio tape of, and I actually made an audio video that contains that audio tape. He was just traumatized, terrorized. I was actually verbally assaulted by two RNs on staff. One of those RNs also physically assaulted me. And OSU is one of the players that lied, slandered me, slandered, try to make my son out to be a monster. And they were one of the key players that helped probate court of Franklin County, Ohio, illegally commit my son to a state of Ohio ICF MR facility, who's been treating him like an animal. And I've been slandered. My son's been mislabeled, misinterpreted as being everything other than an autistic individual, that can't help that he is autistic, that's set off by people that don't know how to care for him, don't have the personality and the patience to work with him. So on this particular audio video, and like I said, this is a series because I got other ones. You will hear a OSU Wexner Medical Center Harding Hospital staff nurse says to me that after talking to her about and asking her how my son is doing, and she said to me, well, he is in seclusion. He just got through having some aggression, and slamming doors and stuff. And I said, why? Why? Because there's always a trigger. And she said, we don't know his triggers. Now, when he was admitted, to me, I'm a registered nurse myself, but that's just like knowing how old he is. You cannot work with and care for, and like I said, also work with an autistic individual competently, humanely, if you don't know the triggers. I had to tell Columbus Developmental Center, the state facility that my son's in right now, the same thing. I said, well, how in the world he could be having a meltdown or very agitated, and you wouldn't know why? Because my son, one of his triggers is rain and thunder and lightning. And I said, it could be thunder and lightning, and he could be having a meltdown, and you wouldn't even know why. I said, how in the world can you care for autistic or work with an autistic patient, resident, student, and you don't know the triggers? It just blows your mind. So you will hear her say this, that we didn't know, we don't know his triggers. And then at that point, even though I offered it to them when he was admitted, when I gave them his history and gave them his personal information, I offered it to him. But it seemed like if there was any kind of competence or knowledge base about what autism is, it seemed like they were been getting on the phone like, we don't understand triggers, or there's no triggers listed. And can you tell us his triggers again? It's almost like a behavioral plan, or a functional behavioral assessment to know that these things will actually make this individual get agitated, even escalating into a aggressive behavior or a meltdown. I mean, it just blows your mind. So here it is, because like I said, they uh, help uh, Stanklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities by writing a letter, saying my son needed to be institutionalized. They couldn't do anything for him, which is true because it's a psych unit over there, and they didn't have any kind of competence or knowledge base and compassion and the other skills that you need to work with my son and his needs as a individual autism. So that was true, and then they slandered me. So I know they didn't know, as far as not having um, the knowledge base. Because unless you parent or live with one autistic individual, you really don't have a clue. But, to try to seek the information that you need to know to competently and humanely care and work with that autistic patient. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. But here you have it. This nurse telling me that, and admitting that the hospital staff didn't know my son's triggers. And in spite of me being supportive, working with the staff, giving them information, and so that his hospitalization wouldn't be a nightmare and they would be able to actually meet the goals of him being there as a patient on their unit. So without further ado, here it is.
Hello, this is Jen. Yes, this is Myra Tainsley. I want to know how Marquise is doing, and I want to know if I can talk to him, because he likes to talk to his mom. So, no matter what his response is, he wants to talk to me every day.
Okay, absolutely, and we don't want to deny you're being able to talk to him. We're kind of in the middle of, he had to go back to seclusion right now because he was yelling and slamming doors and being threatening towards staff.
Why? Why is he having those behaviors? What's the trigger?
We don't know what the trigger is, ma'am.
Okay, so when she told me that he had to go back into seclusion, and of course she said why, he was threatening towards staff, he was slamming doors, seemed like he was probably overloaded. And I tell people this a lot, because I know they don't know this. I said, well, you could still see aggressive behaviors or agitated behaviors with my son, at least, even though he's verbal. Autistic individuals, whether they're verbal or nonverbal, will sometimes still communicate with behaviors. They won't verbally say it. They'll just start slamming doors and screaming and yelling and going into a meltdown. So that's what he probably was doing, but he probably was telling them it's too noisy, or I want to see my mom, or I want to go home. But like I said, no knowledge base. I have yet to see it where anybody knows anything about autism. Hospitals, schools, provider agencies, law enforcement, you just name it. But there you have it. And after she said that he went into seclusion, I wanted to know why. What triggered him? Because you need to know, what we don't know is triggers. Like, we don't know his triggers. Like, what's that? What's a trigger? And you curing and working with and trying to treat and care for a resident that has autism, and you don't know, the importance of a trigger. So it just shows, again, the nightmare that my son was going through, me along with him, because like I said, the family, especially a mother that's supportive and loving, or a father that's supportive and loving, it affects us as well. I said, because I don't, I had to go in the places that has no knowledge of my son, and I got to see him being abused and assaulted and neglected and traumatized and terrorized, and just because people, you know, are in jobs that they're not fit. They don't, have patience. They don't know how to approaching. They don't have a knowledge base, a skill level. It's just awful. But there you have it. Um, I am going to be um, posting and making another audio video of my son, because I think I have that on tape when we were on the phone, and I had told him they would not let me come and see him, and he said, can my mom come and see me, something to that effect, to the staff that was in around him in the background. So anyway, thank you for listening. This is part of the series on OSU Wexner Medical Center, Harding Hospital. And while they hate him and they really, really hate me, they haven't been as up to snuff as they try to make out to be and everything. I said, not only have they were incompetent in caring for my son and his needs, they were also abusive. They were also violent and very unprofessional. So there you have it, and thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.